This is my Volvo. I'm not afraid of working on it. Here's some chronicles of my adventures driving and repairing it. So heading home from work last night, and I was pulling on the door handle, and there was a clunk. I think it finally gave up, so I guess I will just order a whole new door handle. I did not immediately order a new door handle. I just lived with giving my car the reach around every time I went to drive. Later, I slid off the road while trying to get to a ski area right after Christmas. The car only took cosmetic damage. Thankfully, there was a wire fence to catch it, otherwise I probably would have rolled the car, and the accident would have been worse. Also, the crash broke the turn signal lens on the driver's side. On the way home from the whole Christmas trip, my left taillights and license plate lights stopped lighting. At first I thought the taillight itself had failed in some way, but I found a fuse diagram that had a label which mentioned left taillight and plate lights, so I went and checked the fuses. Behold, the relevant fuse had failed. This happens with this open fuse block and ceramic bullet-style fuses. Fortunately, a previous owner was obviously an enthusiast who left plenty of spares in the glove box. I also replaced the left marker lamp that was damaged after the crash. A few weeks later, the door handle and turn signal lens arrived in the post. And so the dismantling of the door begins. For some reason the lock knob has never been firmly attached, so that part's easy. So I got mad my card declined a while ago while trying to get gas, and I power slammed the door, which forcefully ejected the speaker. So don't get mad, or at least when you get mad, don't slam doors. But anyways, it makes taking the speaker easy, because it's just the two wires holding it on. Do be careful when fishing out the plugs that cover the screws on the armrest, because at least mine are made out of cheese, it would look like. Although it's probably the way I'm digging them out, so. But yeah, just word of caution. The driver's door has 3 screws. There's one there, and then the 2 with the covers. So I've got all the screws out, but apparently to get this part off you have to rotate it so it points up, because there's a slotted key in there or something. Okay, and yes, you do have to take the window switches out, but they just, as far as I can tell, slide right out, so that makes that simple. Yeah, the window switches just slide right out, and then that should just come right out. Door detent. I need to pick up that screw. Yeah, like that. That's easy. Right, so the window switches will apparently fit through that hole and into the door cavity, and it's just snaps that hold the door card on after taking all this off. To save you from my cranium-aching lack of thought in this instance, these plastic buttons are not snaps. Somehow my mind did not connect the slot in the head with how the fastener is removed. If I had turned the fastener so the slot was perpendicular to the ground, it would simply pull right out. I would only discover this upon reassembly. These fasteners also hold the bottom of the door pocket on. After these are removed, the door pocket unclips from the 2 screws, and the middle is held in by this insert tab. If I had known how the door pocket comes off, I wouldn't have damaged it during removal. Alright, I'm going to try to save somebody some frustration if they need some help getting their door card apart, because the door pocket, there's actually 2 screws that hold the bottom of the door pocket on, so there's the 3 holes for the little snaps, and my car anyways has 2 screws, one there, and I just took that one out. Now if you look at the actual door pocket, you'll notice that there was a lug there, and there's another one back there that slip over those screws. But how do you get them out? You actually just lift it up over it, and you have to be gentle because I broke mine, and also the middle part is held in with a sort of tab you insert and turn. So just to save anybody else in the future that frustration, that's how that comes apart, because I was getting mad. But it's apart now, and there's 1 screw left, so I'm going to take apart I'm going to take the door card off and fix the door handle. Maybe that car that other guy was working on, maybe it's a different model year with a different style window switch, because mine does not fit through the door card. But we're now down far enough, because that's the vapor barrier. The door handle is just in there. I had to drop the window down just a little bit to get at that last screw holding the door handle in. Right after I stopped recording. Well, anyways, door handle. And there it is, the receptacle for the new door handle. And remember to put the actual mechanism back together, including the return spring. And I won't be able to show you any of it because it's fiddly working in the thin space that is a door. IPD didn't have any all black door handles, so this is the closest I could get. It's not going to match with any of them, but I think I'd rather have a working door handle than a car with all matching parts. I can see why my door handle stopped working, because that's a rivet. That part's broke off, and then if we look in there, we'll revisit the damage later. I really wish I had a shop. Anyways, I got the door back together. The door linkage works as far as I can tell. It's really cold. I am very jazzed the door pocket went back on. Just a few more things. Don't forget the bezel for the thing. Yeah, just like that. Now, I'll get it eventually. That took longer than I wanted. But now for the moment of truth that will have made it all worth it. Yes! I want to do that again. Look at that, all of my handiwork. Yes! It's a week later. It's a lot faster taking apart the door when you know what you're doing, and you break less stuff. But anyways, we're in here again to try to adjust the linkage, which is somewhere in there. The vapor barrier's in the way. So there's a mechanism. I loosened that, I unscrewed it a little bit, and the door handle feels a lot better. And it returns all the way, so we'll see if that is the correct adjustment. Hopefully I've got the door handle sorted for a long, long time. Now I just have to put the door back together, and I'll even be done before it's dark. I might get some other stuff done. I'm going to clean the plastics before I put the door all the way back together. Yeah, I could probably put the door mostly back together before I bother with cleaning that. Anyways, we're making progress. I am still a little bothered that I didn't figure out that with the slot on it, I can just turn it 90 degrees and it pulls right out. So, yeah, I broke one of them for no reason. Oh well, live and learn, and I should probably see if anybody has any more of those, or if not, figure out how to 3D print them. The plastic center cap on this wheel went missing around the same time as the door handle breaking. No clue why, when, or where the cap disappeared. I had originally ordered a replacement after discovering it missing, along with some light bulbs, but the order didn't ship until after the new door handle arrived. I had replaced the marker light soon after returning home from the Christmas adventure, and as a temporary fix, I covered the exposed marker light with packing tape. C'est fabrication français. The lens cover came with 3 replacement screws, which were all Torx head, and plastic washers, which were a little fiddly. The rubber seal I simply put back in its channel and tightened all 3 screws down. The broken lens cover was made in Estonia. Interesting. Here's the broken door handle. It obviously was worn out, and the extra stress of using 2 hands to force the door open broke the pivot ear off the casting. That little pin there is almost completely worn through. No surprise the door was difficult to open. A few months would pass after finishing the door and lens. Many more miles were traveled. I had occasionally topped off the coolant during that time, and I finally decided to investigate. The water pump and surrounding area did have evidence of slight weepage, and the reservoir had a visible leak. new reservoir and new water pump with seals. And the reservoir is the easy part because it's just the two hoses that connect it, but the water pump is a little more involved. Bad news, all 4 of the nuts rounded off and my throat hurts. So I've got some crummy vice grips, but hopefully that helps remove them, because that fan has to come off. Alright, I'm giving up on the water pump today. Those nuts are not coming off. But while I'm here, I guess I can still replace that, because it is leaking and it looks like it's getting ready to blow. Okay, I guess I could have used this smaller one. That would make that easier. I don't know why I thought putting the drain pan up here would work. It was at this point that I finally started using my brain and stuck a coolant bottle in the engine bay. Oh, that's not the right size. Hang on. Here it is. Hey, send it around. You need one. It's after market, but it's not leaking. Yes. Aftermarket parts. That's as in there as that goes. Oh well, we can make it work. Come on. There we go. That's in there. Over there. Later, my father came up to help me replace the water pump. Of course, this turned into a questionably fun all-day adventure, seeking out new replacement fasteners. Wasn't able to record it because it took all day yesterday, which is Saturday, but we got it back in there. We had to get new nuts and studs from the hardware store. Thank goodness they had them in the right thread, the right size, so there's new stuff holding the fan on. And we had to get new bolts for the pump as well because they started breaking And thankfully O'Reilly's had them in the right size and the exact same length and style of head. Of course, they're all kind of buried, so I can't really show you it. Evidently I was wrong about it being leak-free. And that's on the other side of the car. I guess I'll have to check if the hoses are tight there. Okay, I think I found it. It looks like it's coming out of the heater hose, or sorry, the heater return line. What happened was us failing to correctly install a square profile O-ring on the heater return. Critically, we did not lubricate the seal on the pipe before installing the heater return into the new pump. This caused the seal to roll over and leak. Father wasn't able to come back up for 2 weeks. When he did, we doubled up regular O-rings of the appropriate size and gooped the pair with RTV onto the heater return and installed the line. This worked. Funny how I realized just how much I actually drive when I'm not able to drive my car. Anyways, a short drive to the top of the mountain and back revealed no leaks, which had me feeling much better. The next day, I used the rest of my vacation time for a day trip to Butte, Montana. Not sure if it was foolish or brave to attempt so soon after fixing the coolant leaks, but I did it, and the car survived as well. I drove over several mountains through mostly upper 80s Fahrenheit. The cooling system might need an upgrade if I ever fix the air conditioning. If it wasn't obvious already, I do like this car, even with its slow, old car foibles. I've been driving it daily pretty much since I got it running again. Every time I work on this car, I learn something about the car and myself, like my lack of patience. There are still things to fix that annoy me, like the taillights occasionally going on strike, the placebo aircon, eye-strainingly dim dash lights, and so on. There's usually something to fix. For now, I'll keep fixing and driving. I still think I got a great deal with buying this old box, $1,500.